Saylor from MicroStrategies has pivoted out of Bitcoin. Guess what he's buying right now? US bonds. On this channel, we know exactly what that means. We are headed for a bear market. Now, there is a possibility that we get a broad relief rally that's going to target specific sectors, and it's all coming down to tomorrow. Remember, we were saying last week, get ready for the 13th of May. That will be the catalyst that decides it all. In the event that was bullish, Bitcoin, numerous altcoins would have exploded past this trend line. What actually happened, looking inside our VIP group, the morning of, this is all happening right when the stock market bell rings, we're looking at the PPI data and we're going, uh-oh, we already have all this calculated out 48 hours in advance. We're saying, guys, this just hit bearish, so not good. For anyone who was ready to dollar cost average into more altcoins, we had beautiful trades set up. Adding on to the bio position up here. Getting ready for another bounce, W shape, and then a breakout. All of it postponed. In today's video, we're going to go over this bear market insight. Now, it's not set in stone yet, but come tomorrow morning, an hour before the stock market, it can undoubtedly be. What's going on, guys, in the chat? What's up? What's up? Oh, yeah, Trump has destroyed altcoins. With this inflation, this conflict overseas, it's just hammering down. And of course, Wintermute and now Michael Saylor, these guys are reacting to the data that just came in. I'm not up to speed on your Wintermute information, albeit I'm pretty sure that they started pivoting bearish after the May 13th PPI inflation, because we were set for a breakout that just wasn't supported by the macros. We're also going to go a deep dive into a new listing in the privacy sector that lines up with Zcash. We've been scooping this particular project up in VIP since the 31 million market cap. It's doubled up since then, and what it's forming right now is this beautiful cup and handle type formation. And as we comb through altcoin charts, we'll see this cup and handle formation, obviously super bullish, and it's connected to all these local breakouts. Near, Zcash, the cup and handle is really rotating all around. This project has some similarities with KTA, but we'll get into that in a minute. Zcash ready for a massive pullback. Let's jump right into this checklist. Starting with point number one, I digress. Let's get into what it's going to take for this bear market to instigate first thing tomorrow, right off the back, because it can be delayed. We can have Bitcoin come back up, retest this 84K level, and then get rejected. It is possible, but we need a very specific set of macro indicators to happen. We need the durable goods print to come in bullish. Right now, economists are already projecting this macro indicator is going to be bullish. And this is just like PPI. The last live stream we did, we were saying, guys, get ready. This is going to be the biggest day we've seen in a long time for altcoins. We're either going to break out on Bitcoin and start testing higher levels, and the altcoin market's going to ride with it, or we're going to get rejected like we just did. This is the same ball game. We need tomorrow's print to be bullish. It will work in tandem with the jobs report on June 5th. We need back-to-back bullish macros in order to get this up and running, in order to really get this rolling. Otherwise, we're stopped out. And we're gonna cover how low things are gonna go when it's time to start buying using macro insight. That's gonna give us a lock on when we should dollar cost average. For everybody in the Caspa community, this has been so heartbreaking for me ever since September of 2025. We've been super bearish on Caspa. We made this post 12 hours before the Morgan Stanley market crash on October 10th, when they released that cryptic regulation, projecting Caspa would be in a bear market until Powell retires. Well, Powell just retired. We're reevaluating the situation, and still Caspa, which really represents the economy and how liquidity can impact altcoins, it's a store of value project. Caspa is in position for continued consolidation. I am not seeing it going lower than this range, but an extended consolidation until macroeconomics pivot. Now, in the event you're a gainfully employed guy, you're selling real estate, you own a small business, and you can keep stacking into Caspa, this is potentially good for you. Because there's nothing wrong with the project. It's the economy. And Trump has just devastated it with this conflict overseas. Looking into projects that have been more active. Data centers, artificial intelligence. Notice how Tau and Render, and this is very integrated into what's happening right now, today, with that May 13th PPI. Both of these trend lines are prior PPI prints. We've got the January 30th level on Bitcoin. That's January 30th. That was a PPI print as well. We can add all of these onto the chart and you can see, boom, look at that. PPI print right here. There's a PPI print right here as well. So this has now become like a double reinforced high inflation PPI stopping Bitcoin out at 84K. And that's kind of a big deal. That can take an extended amount of time to wear down. We're gonna need the macros to really start pivoting into low inflation. And the Fed's thinking this is gonna take into 2027. Yet there are still specific sectors, RWA, privacy, that are set up for a faster recovery. With these more active projects, notice how both Render and Tau are just bouncing completely off of these PPI resistance lines, and we were able to set those up before the candle even got to them, realizing how strong PPI is going to be. Keeping that in mind as we get to point number one, this is based on the FOMC minutes. It's the most important document. You guys are subscribing, so you realize the FOMC minutes ultimately dictate or give us a cheat code to what's going to happen for altcoins. And what they're saying is these global rate hikes that everybody was afraid of at the last FOMC meeting right here. The FOMC meeting wasn't here on the bio chart. It was FOMC meeting, and then there's the Bank of Japan. Notice how it did a bunny hop at the Bank of Japan. For PRL, Coinbase AI, it actually jumped significantly higher right after the Bank of Japan didn't hike rates. We can see right there, there's the Bank of Japan. It's about 18 hours before the FOMC meeting. It runs to the upside and then tops off. Caspa's chart, directly correlated with the Bank of Japan. That's the first time the Bank of Japan hiked rates in years. Right here. It was Caspa's all-time high, and then again here. So Bank of Japan rate hikes very connected to our portfolio. What the FOMC minutes just said was, oh yeah, all that bullish event that just took place for BAYA, which is already retraced back to that level, for Zcash, the trading plans unlocked, we put together, hey, once the Bank of Japan says no rate hike, 5x, 6x leverage trade Zcash. Bank of Japan says, yeah, no rate hike, and it just rockets to the upside. Now, the federal documents are saying, guess what? That no rate hike scenario, that's gone. That's old news. Rate hikes are now going to happen. Therefore, it's logical that Zcash pulls back down to this range. 320 might be extreme. 400, 440, absolutely. Supported by these macroeconomic outlooks. Absolutely supported. So we've got large downside ahead. We've also got an opportunity to short for active traders. Starting when? June 17th, when the Bank of Japan hikes rates. It can start tomorrow, it can start at the labor market, depends on how powerful the data is. Everybody's originally positioned waiting for the Clarity Act to get released. All these US senators, they're coming out like, oh, we're gonna do the Clarity Act, it's on like Donkey Kong. With the elections coming up, how busy they are on Capitol Hill, this is likely to be postponed to 2027. Just like on-chain upgrades are often paralleled with macroeconomics, in my opinion, the government knows releasing the Clarity Act right now will be a waste of a perfectly good catalyst. They're better off delaying it until 2027. Therefore, people on Capitol Hill, they might be a bit too busy to release this anytime soon. Technical indicators flashing a massive pullback on Bitcoin. Let's clean this chart up and then jump into the statistics. When they put the stock market on computers, they hired the best mathematicians and traders from around the world. These gentlemen also built indicators. One of their most powerful indicators, in my opinion, that we've used in our trading journal time and time again to get an amazing read, including swing low buys on Kaspa and other projects, is stochastics. The higher your time frame, the better off you are. A great example of this works on the total 3. Put the 1 week stochastics on position, zoom in. These are great buying points right there in April, boom. When the stochastics is at a swing low, this is a great time to buy. What just happened with the stochastics on Bitcoin? On the total 3, on the 1 week time frame, this just rallied to the upside. This is like an RSI indicator that oscillates side to side. Therefore, as this begins its retrace back down to the bottom of its gauge, Bitcoin is ready for some massive selling pressure and a future entry. Also, it's setting up short positions. That's where we're at right now. When we have Michael Saylor not buying Bitcoin and instead he's buying US bonds, we are getting ready to start shorting. Now, this can be delayed tomorrow with a very sector-specific upside, but it's happening. In the event this relief rally is secured, first of all, the best chance would have been the PPI on May 13th. They took that away. Now it's going to be even more selective and it's going to be even more controlled. We need a catalyst of events. Tomorrow morning, there's a ton of data getting released. There's PCE inflation and durable goods. These need to both hit the sweet spot and be bullish. And we need a bullish jobs report on June 5th. Tomorrow morning, we can wake up and the possibility of a relief rally will be over with. The jobs report won't be enough alone. It needs to be paired with a bullish durable goods. This rally then continues until June 17th, when there's an FOMC meeting and the Bank of Japan, the Bank of England, they all schedule their FOMC meetings at the same time. The FOMC minutes just said they're going to start hiking rates. Them not hiking rates was a bullish catalyst that just happened, that we're seeing high impact altcoins already selling off. Like Bio, rallied up over a double up and then pulled back based on that information. We kind of got a double top with a lackluster jobs report, and then the nail in the coffin was the May 13th PPI. That really sealed the deal. Getting into gem hunts. This is an amazing project. Privacy sector. We've been scooping this up in VIP from the 30 million market cap. Right now, it's forming this cup and handle type pattern. Looking at Near. VIP post for Near back here around $1.20 to $1.40. This is an AI sector project that Arthur Hayes just called out. The cup and handle is undeniably the most bullish pattern. Monster breakout. Now the question on everybody's mind is, how high can Near go? Can we still get more upside? And that's all coming down to tomorrow. For swing traders, action traders, or hodl traders who just saw some gains and they're thinking, should I take profit now? The average performance for a cup and handle is 3 to 5x gains from the neckline, which is $1.40. Therefore, this is 5 to 7 range. It is running into this very key resistance. That's the Morgan Stanley October 10th. But as we've seen on VVV and other projects, in the event it can get above it, super bullish. So with a good print tomorrow, this will start really testing that resistance, and then the jobs report will be the final catalyst to break this to the upside and have it continue its trend. Doing a deep dive into this project, it's completely different than Zcash and other privacy narratives. Why? Well, with Zcash and the AI sector, as soon as you input this data to AI, it's no longer private. Somebody's looking at it. This computer's looking at it. So if it's your medical records, if it's your financial records, it suddenly knows everything about you. It's really defeating the purpose of privacy. This project uses a new type of technology called FHE. Now there's another new listing. This new tech is just coming out. This one's on Binance. And we'll go into the difference between these two projects. So this one already has a huge exchange listing. The value in Octra, this is only on Uniswap, guys. This isn't even on MEXC. This isn't even on Bybit. They've also released about 60% of the tokens. Meanwhile, Zama, listed on Binance, another FHE, this means for privacy, AI just can't read it. It's the ultimate privacy narrative, which can be big with the Incoming Clarity Act. This project's only released about 25% of their tokens. So there's a lot more inflation here versus Octra. Both of them, interestingly enough, are showing a cup and handle type pattern. Zama has a longer time frame, so these are both positioned to grow. Pulling up KTA, which had very restricted exchange listings, had its initial rally, broke out right around the May 15th catalyst. This is when Powell came out and started threatening inflation. Rallies to the upside. This started topping out just under $1 billion. When it was listed, 10 million market cap, ran all the way to $1 billion, primarily on DEXs. This privacy project, fairly decent setup. With the support of a durable goods tomorrow, it's in a great position. Here's the Bank of Japan no hike. There's the FOMC minutes, and we get a rally to the upside. River. This is actually something that I was about to type up. This is definitely an easy, fundamental go-to inside our VIP trading group where we read the FOMC minutes, where we got our original entry on River because the FOMC minutes said what? We are buying treasury bills. River, supported by treasury bills, very bullish. Guess what they're saying inside the FOMC minutes? Originally, they were saying, well, we're going to start tapering off. When they announced they're tapering off, combined with some token unlocks here at the peak, they're saying, oh yeah, we're going to start tapering off. That was super bullish on April 8th. So it went from 12 all the way down to this 5-6 range. In the last FOMC minutes just last week, they said, we're not tapering. And that is super bullish for River. At any time, the Fed can say, you know what? We need some excess liquidity. Let's start printing more money. This is absolutely a rock solid go-to, easy double up in my opinion. Easy double up. And it can run in a bear market. It has its own catalyst. I really like this pick right now. With a great durable goods tomorrow, it's on. It is on for River. They've been doing a lot of work, so great comment right there. Bio, still extremely strong. Got the wind taken out of it at the May 13th PPI. Formed this double top really based around macro principles. So we've got our labor market print right here, which was neutral. It wasn't bullish enough to get us to break out again. There was a bit of bullish data for the AI sector, got a brief rally, but it really double topped out here. Comes down, it's gonna get another pass out breakout, but that PPI came in and it was just devastating. It was super high. Look at the numbers. They were projecting it was gonna come in low. So the economists were anticipating, oh, a relief rally's coming based on low PPI, which had kicked everything off like Bio originally. This is why I'm still bullish on Bio. April 13th, kicked off. That was at that surprise PPI. So we had this all set up for an explosive growth, but we didn't get the data. We just didn't get the data. And now selling back off to that Bank of Japan no rate hike level right here. With the pullback coming on Bitcoin, and it is a matter of time. Michael Saylor's buying bonds. This is 50K, maybe lower, depending on how the conflict overseas goes. If this continues, in the event it escalates, this could go sub 50K in an extreme scenario. And that's going to delay and hold down altcoins for a while. In the event we get a bullish print tomorrow, durable goods, and then we'll get the jobs report, which is another opportunity out of relief rally, definitely consider taking profit on bio. In correlation with those macroeconomics, just get back into cash. Not right now. Don't panic out. Let the macros dictate everything. Let yourself get some upside, because what is this going to form? Around 5 cents, probably 4.5 would be a major resistance. Look at that. It's going to form. Where's my 200-day moving average? Temporary glitch. It's going to settle right around that 200-day moving average and this major resistance right here. This is a major support and resistance at 4.5. That head and shoulder pattern. If you want to be an action trader. Otherwise, lock it in and wait. A great rule of thumb to avoid top blasting: only buy the morning of a bullish catalyst. This works across all sectors, and you're really never going to miss out on gains 9 times out of 10. It's going to be the FOMC minutes, a big inflation report, or an FOMC meeting where you get all your big moves, like bio. That's an FOMC meeting breakout. Originally, it was on PPI. That's fairly difficult to capture, specifically into bio, but easy setup here. And that just goes on and on throughout history. It's often going to be at the minutes, at the meetings. Thank you, Golden Psycho. We've gone over all of our posts over the last 90 days, putting them in an Excel spreadsheet in the event you just openly blasted, right? Like, didn't use the macro timing to vet anything out. You went for the high market cap, the low market cap, even like the DGen AI agent picks at like 2 million market cap. You bought every single project the day that it was posted. You'd be up 25% if you just held. If you went for just the projects 250 million market cap and up, everything's bullish. The worst case scenario would be you broke even for all the posts on quality projects. What I noticed with that study is taking a moon bag is not a good idea. So I ran the numbers going over all these trades. Taking a moon bag is only going to reduce your profits. You're better off just letting a moon bag run. The average upside on the gainers is between 3 and 5x. That's where you want to start looking to take profit heavily, around 3 to 5x. The average over every single trade, and this is not even being scrutinizing, vetting, using any of the macros, just as soon as it's posted, you just blast it into it. The average all-time high is a double up. It was like 108% is the average. And I'm talking realistic peak. I was hard on myself. I'm not like, let's average in the absolute wick top. Where could you have realistically sold at an all-time high level? So the total all-time high would have been higher. So we're getting good results, good trades, and it really shows. One, stick with larger market cap projects. For the 15 posts we had on projects above $250 million, they're all up. The worst case scenario is break even. These are projects like Near, Zach, right? Virtuals, which somebody mentioned, that's break even. But for those quality projects, using our macro insight correlation, our 24-point checklist, you can't lose. And protecting capital, just like in poker, is an important part. So thanks for the compliment. Virtuals. Virtuals is tough because the on-chain data is really showing a range of activity. If you'll excuse me, I gotta shut off this smoke alarm. With your Launchpad projects, one of the key factors to have a lot of bullish upside, the kind that we're all looking for, we need a true bull market scenario. This is true for virtuals, Clanker, Pump.Fun, or Bio. They're all Launchpads. They can get some price adjustment when we're in a bear market, but they really need that high volume to break out. So for me, virtuals, the amount of tokens that they're launching is garbage. They're doing one token launch a day. One token launch a day. The way that the market's positioned right now, consolidation sideways at best. All right, let's get into Kaspa. This is, as you guys know, not to sound glib, I really work on pivoting away from sounding glib, but it is important to highlight that these macroeconomic tactics have outperformed every single other trading method known. As all of these traders started piling in on Kaspa's keyword, our style stood out as by far, like running circles around the other traders, the most effective. We brought into light, hey, use the FOMC meetings to enter into Kaspa, or if you want to go action, use the FOMC meetings to leverage trade Kaspa. Look at how effective that has been. Starting back here, when I originally purchased Kaspa, we saw this rally, we were on the sidelines, and we said, you know what? Let's wait this out for two things. One, the statistics. Remember how earlier we were showing, oh, dude, Bitcoin has this terrible 1 week statistics. Let's take a look at Kaspa's old school statistics just to show how bullish it is. Look at the 1 week statistics. So back here, this is when they did that banking sector cash relief, and Kaspa's on everybody's radar. A lot of people, they were just straight up hating it though. They were like, oh, Kaspa's going to zero. This is like a relief rally. Meanwhile, Behind the scenes, it's BlackRock, Marathon Digital, and they're loading up. And it's so important for everybody in the Caspa community, and I'm gonna start doing more videos about this, to keep our chin up. Because there's nothing wrong with Caspa. It's the economy. Like, completely. Like, I see all these people posting that are newer traders. They haven't discovered how the central bank is really controlling everything to the level that viewers of this show have. And they're like, oh, Caspa's dead, man. No, man, the economy's dead. Caspa will have its day when everything's ready to go. So look at this 1 week stochastic pullback, which is exactly what we're looking for on Bitcoin. Once we're done with tomorrow's events. Now, in the event tomorrow's bullish, and then we get the bullish labor market print, that can change things for the Fed's outlook. Enough to warrant and support a relief rally. But once Japan, the Bank of England, once they start hiking rates, it's all over, baby. This 1 week stochastics, okay, this can top out. Like, see how sometimes it makes a peak and then comes up, makes another peak? We can definitely get some type of a stochastic bull flag, as we call it in our technical videos. But this is headed to the downside in 2026. And once it reaches that level, that's when we're going to start looking at when to buy Bitcoin, Caspa, and other projects. The tech is not going to rally Caspa, guys. Solana, for example, gets smart contracts here. Has them the whole time. Smart contracts aren't volume. There needs to be this liquidity in the risk on market for it to rocket in preparation. So for those of us that are gainfully employed or want to participate in swing trading, this is good because we have plenty of time to scoop up Caspa. The insight that we used on Caspa works on almost everything. Let me show you, this is wild. Coinbase and Caspa stock had very similar performance. Caspa did a 10x, but it held more. Coinbase stock did an 8x. Excuse me, but Coinbase held more. So what we're doing is we're overlaying every FOMC meeting on top of the Coinbase chart. Now these green ones are when Powell said something bullish and we got to kick up on Caspa. And it did the almost identical impact. Boom, 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 and boom. Look at this on Coinbase. That's the 10x run on Caspa on Halloween. Right there. There's a massive rally on Coinbase here. So on and so forth. With the durable goods print, which is what's happening tomorrow, you can use that with automotive companies like Tesla. Looking at the meetings on Tesla, we can see that was pretty bullish. That was pretty bearish. So these macroeconomics, they're applying to the entire risk on market. Michael Saylor buying Bitcoin is bad, really bad. It's signaling downside. Caspa's also a thermometer for the broader market. Because it's a store of value project, our technical analysis and macro analysis on Caspa can be used to get insight into the broader altcoin market. Now, there's always going to be those niche sectors that go against the trend. Looking back to this post made 12 hours before the Morgan Stanley crash, where we're like, we have to wait until Powell retires, that actually applies to the entire altcoin market. In our last Caspa video, we go over how during the 2025 bear market, we were able to trade Caspa profitably. I had to pay taxes on the gains I made from trading Caspa, despite it was a massive bear market. Using macros is going to help us out a ton. What I'm working on right now inside VIP group, we're working on a formula, a checklist, a systematic approach for using macros combined with technical insight. So how we could have taken profit on our bio trade before all the downside. Now, obviously, we wanted to hold for that PPI. This jobs report was kind of neutral. It wasn't really bearish. But what warrants, because the correct move here was take profit after that PPI came out. That PPI hits and it's bearish. Bio big picture is fine. It's a very strong project, and we know it's strong because it's correlated with FOMC minute upside. Projects that move with the FOMC meetings have historically been very bullish. Those are projects like Caspa. Just like Virtuals, it's a launch pad. It's going to need that bull market value. Tomorrow morning, in the event we get a bullish print, and that's also paired with the June 5th labor market comes in bullish. So we get this catalyst cluster of good events, cueing the relief rally of Bitcoin back to 84,000. This is going to be a head and shoulders, third shoulder, in my opinion, coming up to this 4.5 cent range. Okay, we got our 200-day moving average. Yeah, this should break above and then come back and start to ride with the 50-day moving. Putting it on the 1 day and adding the 50-day, we're actually getting a bullish crossover right now. That bullish crossover, technical signal that supports a relief rally. And this should consolidate around this level. Taking profit at the peak on this, I don't believe is going to save you a bunch of money. I don't think it's going to be that profitable, because coming back down to these levels, that was a one-time discount round, kind of like Tau. River is really starting to break out. This is a great trade, guys. It's supported by the FOMC minutes again. This could easily go back up to 25. So this is a 3x from here. 3x move is a big move, guys. That's a big move. Fairly low risk. Now this one, this is more risk with potentially more upside. This is a potential 10x upside. CFG is an absolute beast, but here's the thing. It can't run in these macro conditions. It's just not happening. Looking at Near. So this is an AI sector project. It's got that beautiful cup and handle, and what do we know about technical analysis? The way that we can tell, hey, is that a double top? Or is that a cup and handle? Two parts. One, the cup and handle will have more rounded features, and two, it will be made up of these almost like miniature cup and handles. So we can see all of these cup and handle type formations inside this chart, like here, here. This is the Morgan Stanley trend line making a giant cup and handle ready to break out to 7 or above. This could be ready for a monster run, guys. I'm serious, near. It's an AI sector project. Arthur Hayes just talked it up. Inside VIP, it was a casual call out. We did have the prices to buy and everything like that around here. We didn't multiply post on this. With a bullish print tomorrow, this is ready to go. This is ready to rally. This is the thing about macro data. It's going to give us high conviction on our trades. So tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m., we look at the durable goods. We look at the PCE. For VIP members, you know, we already have our sliding scale protocol already laid out. What that looks like is, this is one from April 14th. It ended up coming in super bullish, but before it even happens, we're looking at last month, and then we're looking at what the economists are anticipating is going to come out. So on April 14th, they thought it was going to be high inflation. And then so we go over every possible outcome. Well, if it's these numbers, it'll be bullish. If it's those numbers, it'll be bearish. Once that exact inflation hit, it was super bullish. PPI results, bullish. You see? So we've got everything already worked out. We've planned ahead. We know what numbers are going to do what for the altcoins, and we know what we're going to trade. So we've got all of our AI picks lined up, ready to go. Tomorrow is one of those events with these sliding scales. It's the last chance for the altcoin market to have a bullish reaction, for this relief rally. Paired with a jobs report, definitely start stabilizing. Let's see if we can put the jobs on near. Have you guys heard about Arthur Hayes and near? Okay, so this is back when Tau was breaking out right here, right? And near did that cup and handle. Just recently, it flipped that resistance into support, and now it's doing a parabolic cup and handle style move. What is an example of cup and handle? Kaspa. Clean this chart up. We can see beautiful cup and handle. Rune, another magnificent cup and handle from way back in the day. See this cup and handle? It's been one of the most parabolic trades of all time. Now here, we had a bad labor market print, and it formed an additional cup and then just exploded. So the cup and handle, guys, is where it's at. All we need now is confirmation from macros. So back to the point that I was making, why the strategy and tactic we use in our VIP is so good. Your conviction is there. When we get a strong bullish read, a high conviction read in the data, sometimes the data is just like meh, right? It's neutral, it's kind of bearish, right? And we might get some gains because of it. But when we get a set in stone, like, dude, this is bullish, those trades are rocking to the upside. Like I said, I've been going over every single call out we've done, and I just listed everything we printed. I haven't even gone through yet and verified out What about when we got macro confirmation? Because when we get a high level of macro confirmation on these swing trades, they're like, you have to forgive me for saying, but it's like 100%. Our high confirmation picks, it's near 100%. And the thing is, it's only going to take 72 hours, and then you're going to see that price action happen. So I'm going over all of our picks over the last 90 days just to show, hey, these are our results set in stone. And if you would have just blasted away just recklessly at every single pick and just held, you're up 25%. And that includes the G-Gen ones that we never actually did a trading plan for, like Felix, right? Like those low AI agents. Flawless results in the top 250 market cap and above. Every trade's making money or break even. So very important to process all this data. It actually showed us that taking a moon bag is a bad idea. Taking your initial capital out once you double up, don't do that. That's a bad idea. You should hold to the 3x and then do that. Because 3 to 5x, once you're getting a runner, it's either a double up or a 3 to 5x. And there's more 3 to 5x's. So we're processing all that data, and I'm going to have it for VIP members. Look at our project that we've got picked out, guys. Okay, now I want to bring over another chart here to show you something weird. This is CoinGecko. What is that? We're getting this like high frequency, high volatility action right here. And of course, beautiful cup and handle, the most bullish pattern that we have. This, in my opinion, resembles KTA early days, and it's about to pole vault up to $500 million. We started buying this at a nickel. Today it's a dime. Tomorrow it's a quarter. In 45 days it's a $50. This is my opinion. I like this project. It's a new tech. Zuma is another example of it. Zama, whatever this one is. So there's Zama and there's Octra. This is a great question from Connor J. What are we going to do if tomorrow's data is neutral? There's 2 different data sets that are getting released tomorrow. I've never done this on a live stream, but let's just go ahead and take a peek at our durable goods sliding scale. Show you guys what happens. This is in real time. So this is part of the value. Reading the FOMC minutes, setting these up for everybody. So in the morning, every 45, 90 days, we'll get a high conviction setup with a very bullish event. And like I said, we're going through all the data to show, to prove how accurate this is, because we're crushing it. When we get a bullish outcome, you can basically be blindfolded and throw a dart and you're going to hit. So tomorrow there's going to be 2 prints. There's core PCE. Remember Powell at his last FOMC meeting, he's saying, well, we got to watch out between core and headline inflation. And that's something that we break down in real time in multiple posts. But what we really want to get is we want to get a strong durable goods X defense. So durable goods is going to be high because we're in war. This covers airplanes. This covers automobiles. This covers missiles. Durable goods include like a soldier. It costs like $80K to outfit a soldier. That's a durable goods. We have highlighted in green the most important durable goods. Now, last month it was minus 0.3. This month it's projected to be 2.2, which is showing monster growth. What else is really hot? Just the durable goods. Last month was 0.8. They're projecting 3.5. This means manufacturing in the US is going off the chain. Let me show you an example of the last time we got huge growth in the durable goods. When was that? Right around here. Why did we get it? Because of tariffs. All these cell phone companies started ordering extra product. That's why they're giving away buy one, get one free iPhone and stuff, because they overstocked to avoid tariffs. So Wall Street knew beyond a reasonable doubt that durable goods print on the 23rd of April was going to be turbo nuclear bullish. For virtuals, that's what set off the rally, right? Virtuals very connected with durable goods, because durable goods also stands for robotics and AI. So this is very big for our AI sector projects. BankerBot, somebody had mentioned BankerBot in the comments. When did BankerBot have its original breakout? We captured this inside VIP at a durable goods listing that showed massive growth right here. See how it's January 26th? Tomorrow's January 28th. That's right around when the durable goods happens. It's at the end of the month. Labor market's on like the 5th or 6th of every month. Look at that. Look at what BankerBot did. So in the event you've got, oh, look at this is like a bull flag. I like BankerBot for tomorrow. Okay, so we're still doing our trading plans, but here's one. In the event we get strong growth, meaning we're above these numbers, so extremely bullish, we get like a 3.0, right? Kind of bullish, we get a 2.2. What about neutral? It's a mixed reaction. It's going to be really hard to trade that. When you get a mixed reaction, when you get a neutral, unclear signal, hey man, just fold. You don't need to push your risk right there. If you get something super bearish, like the PPI on the 13th, that was potentially a big pivot for us. It came out really bearish. You could go ahead and take profit then on the 13th. Now, there was a fake out to the upside, and you'll typically get that. When a print is released on a Wednesday or a Friday, you'll get a fake out, but everything comes out by that Friday. Once you see downside happening, yeah, you're pretty sure we're going to go under this. So you can use these to take profit on your action trades, or when to push risk, leverage, spot swing trade. Stick to the playbook patiently. Wait until you can see their eyes, you get a clear shot. You're fine, dude. You're going to be fine. This stuff is legit. It works to an insanely high amount. I'm going through right now and going over all our trading plans to show people, trying to avoid being glib, but being like, dude, this system, it's concrete, man. It is concrete. I'm looking to do a pivot into more of the psychology stuff, making sure everybody sticks to the rules, sticks to the plan. I think that that's something that Crypto John does a lot of, keeping people in the right mindset, although he doesn't really have a good trading structure. But this is the thing about tomorrow's print. It's not just durable goods, guys. There's also this, PCE, inflation. This is a cousin of PPI, which is already giving us problems. Now, they are saying that it's going to be neutral, which is fine. As long as we get neutral, we're cool. This is what we call a divergent print. So let's say durable goods comes out exactly like we want. Everything's up. PCE comes in at 3 or 0.3, right? That's fine. It would be better if it came in low, right? Like extremely bullish. It's still bullish to come in here. Sometimes no bad news is good news. And then what we do is we have all these trading plans depending on your portfolio, your appetite to risk. And these are vetted through wallets, the 24-point checklist. Something that I really like is Banker for tomorrow. Because remember, let's add durable goods on here. Durable goods, huge catalyst. So we could get a parabolic rip right there. I appreciate you guys. I love this stuff. It's super fun. It is a ton of work to stay on top of all this macro data. The depth of the research, it's ongoing. Here's the deal with Troll. There's a ton of liquidity in the market right now. Troll, this is, I mean, obviously at this point, not good, right? Once we lost this 10%, 10 level, this is bad. Once we lost 8 cents, this is bad. We can get a relief rally tomorrow and get back into this range, but the opportunity for a breakout, doesn't look likely. Now, durable goods has been a previous catalyst for Troll. That's happening tomorrow. So this can definitely help the project. Where did Troll get stopped out at? Morgan Stanley resistance. In the event this goes back up to retest this trend line, let's look at the statistics. So once the statistics is beginning a downtrend, once it gets to like the 50% level, and there's no macro catalyst for days, we pointed this out inside group, that's fairly bearish. So once these resistance started cracking, that's bad news. Looking at the 1 week, remember we just did this for Bitcoin and Total 3. This is one of the most bizarrely accurate indicators of all time. The guy who invented this is the guy who took the stock market from paper slips, buy 100 shares of Caspa, right? It used to be done on paper. And then they put it on computers. The guy who did that made this indicator. So it's extremely overpowered. And you can see how clearly when the statistics, especially in the large time frames, 1 week statistics, when it's at a peak, this is a top range. When it's at a bottom, this is a low range. And this can be bear flag, like here. Oh, is that the bottom? Nope, continued. And we have videos on using statistics. Notice how it was really choppy on the way down? This signals extended downside of bear flag format. Meanwhile, this one, notice how it was smooth on the way down? This signals a faster bounce. Less likelihood of a bear flag. So this is undoubtedly going to do a retrace. Now, we've used this previously. So one of my biggest problems with Troll is the 1 week stochastics. The 1 day stochastics is coming down. It was relatively smooth. So this is where I'm thinking for Troll. This is a relief rally here. And pretty much everybody who's like, whoa, kind of getting a little frightened right now, this relief rally, they're going to use to position back into cash. And that's in the event we get some bullish print tomorrow. In the event it's bearish tomorrow, it gets a little bit worse. We were talking about Troll down here. We started posting about it here. I've been absorbing a lot of Crash's content. And so we've gone through and vetted his meme coin roster with macroeconomics. And we have some picked out inside VIP that we're not buying right now. We're going to wait. And we're going to buy them later. So if you're interested in taking a new look to meme coins, we have some of that. Because I've been interested in meme coins myself. All right, let's take a look at Tau. The jobs report here on February 6th, this is what consolidated all of crypto from Bitcoin to the total 3. That February 6th jobs report got everything to go sideways. These typically happen on the 6th, the 5th of the 6th, and they're on a Friday. So we've got one coming up on June 5th. The breakout happened on March 5th. We got our VIP members in here because this also has a repeating trend line. Just like Kaspa, the repeating trend line system. Big picture, when you're trading Tau, we've got our repeating trend lines, these downward channels. Notice how this just broke out hand and foot with the jobs reports. That's always what happens. That is always the catalyst. What I did here is I just added our jobs report to Tau's chart. So there's Friday, labor market print, then you get your weekend fake out, just like we had with Bio recently. So we've got our PPI that was hands down super bearish, fake out to the upside, then a downside. So often with these prints, even if it's like cut and dry like that PPI on Bio was, you'll get a misdirection. And a lot of this, it's not because they're trying to fake out retail, it's because the DXY algorithmic trading bots. So you get this initial downside, and then the labor market starts the rally. Okay, well, what about the last downtrend? Same exact thing. The labor market is what is breaking Tau out of these repeating trend lines. Observing that, we are able to get here. Now, these PPIs were set up while the candle was down here as take profit level 1, take profit level 2. Render is using the exact same trend lines. Exact same trend lines. Render just bounced off take profit level 2. Render very correlated with the price of oil. So once oil finally cools, it's going to be bullish for Render. I'll give you guys a tip that aren't in VIP. There is one low cap project. It's traded on Kraken for US traders. That is essentially Render's actual network, repackaged in a low cap for sector specific AI use. It utilizes Render's existing network. And that's a very bullish project with more upside to its all-time high range. For Render, it's a 5x. For this VIP pick, it's a 10, 12x to its all-time high range. Very connected with AI. So for Tau, the durable goods sets up the labor market print to get a rally back up to all-time high range and then continued consolidation. For Tau, I wouldn't try to get fancy and start taking profit. I wouldn't panic and sell right now. I would just let this ride. This is pretty strong support. And getting back to that range is very unlikely. Yeah, that was a once in a blue moon discount. That's because of the liquidity. Just super low liquidity. About the Kaspa hard fork. And this is a great time to rotate to the Kaspa's chart because of the repeating trend lines. So notice how Tau has these repeating trend lines and they all break out with jobs reports. Kaspa also has repeating trend lines. I don't have them drawn on the chart right now, but you guys have seen those, right? This trend line that just continuously repeats. One of the Kaspa devs watched one of our videos. He was so intrigued by the repeating trend lines that he joined our VIP just to get more information on it because he was trying to figure out if it was like hidden in the code or something. But it's actually all across cryptos, as you just saw for Tau. So this trend line repeats over and over again. For Kaspa, it breaks out at these meetings. You see that? Strong Warrior, what's good, my friend? I want you to sit on your hands. I want you to sit on that cash. Absolutely. And I'm going to give you a quick rundown right now, and I'm going to incorporate that into the Kaspa hard fork thing, because really I can answer two questions at the same time with that. Big picture, what we're doing with these macroeconomic data is we're tracking Satoshi's secret design as he incorporated Bitcoin into the financial system. Every 4 years, the Fed is going to tweak the bond market, incentivizing liquidity to go in and out of the bond market. This is how the bull run takes place. Absolutely not. Sit on your hands. Right now, we're looking at just a relief rally in some select projects. It's very low conviction. In order to get a high conviction breakout, we would have needed that PPI print. When Bitcoin was up against the resistance from the last PPI, we would have needed that to have gone in our favor. It did not. I repeat, it did not. Right now, Michael Saylor is not buying crypto. He's buying bonds, which is extremely bearish. I'm pulling up these central bank data charts. Every 4 years, the Fed, to the day, this is why people have come up with these fortune cookie slogans where they say, maybe I can find this in VIP, where they say, oh yeah, it's like 450 days after the halving. That is when we're gonna wanna sell our Bitcoin. Right here. The global liquidity cycle. This dates back to 1965 when the US dollar decoupled from gold. This is a 4-year tempo that directly aligns with all those fortune cookie Bitcoin solutions that are like 450 days after the halving. When Satoshi built Bitcoin, he synchronized the halving, thus the supply demand metric, with the central bank's liquidity cycle. This is why Bitcoin works. It's absorbing the central bank activity. Did you guys read that they killed the Ondo CEO? This handsome devil who obviously had very minimal time spared from his love life. This guy is a G, and he was suddenly missing. He's doing Ondo. What is Ondo doing? Satoshi's fight against the central bank. Who was the last US president who attempted to decouple the US dollar from the central bank? JFK. World War II was all about Germany decoupling from the central bank. They made their own currency. They were relieved from debt and then started to prosper. This is why Satoshi's anonymous, in my opinion. Anyone who has gone against the central bank, it's ended bad for them. Ondo tokenizing the central bank stuff. This should be on InfoWars. This guy was a healthy, extremely bright guy who goes missing in his early 30s. Now that red line with the up and down, that's just the Fed's plan. Everybody's got a plan until you get hit in the face. And this is why I have put the president on the thumbnail, because he has damned the altcoin market with all of his inflation. We all thought he was going to be the president to vote for crypto. As soon as he won the election, inside these central bank documents, they're saying, well, tariffs are coming. That's going to raise inflation. And they canceled the bull run. They canceled the bull run here. You guys have seen those in previous videos. Everything's ready. We get the government shutdown, so they're sabotaging him. This liquidity is so thin. Then what does Morgan Stanley do? They need more time. They're the bankers. They attack crypto while the liquidity's thin, crash everything, and that's like 48 hours after an FOMC minute. So one of those really important documents we're always talking about, that's showing like where the Fed is at in their policy, where we are able to make this post about Kaspa and other bearish posts like, look out guys, there's going to be downside in the altcoin market. The reason I want you to sit on your hands, strong warrior, is because this is it. We might get a relief rally, which isn't worth trading. This isn't a high conviction setup. Okay, we might get a relief rally on bio, popped to the upside. It's not going to run away from us. We might see a pretty solid move on near, right, with this potential cup and handle. But it's a lot of risk. Waiting for Bitcoin to finish this oscillation to the downside, you're going to thank me later for this, bro. You're going to thank me later. Wait it out. Wait this one out. Let the downside come in. For Kaspa, the hard fork, it's great, but like we were looking at Solana and when they got their smart contracts, it takes more than technology to advance a chart. It takes the central bank. Now, what you'll see teams do all the time is they will correlate, there is some trades that you could take. If you wanted to get a side bag of River, this is bullish. I'm going to tell you why. Inside the FOMC minutes, you're probably in group Strong Warrior, right? You remember how we were reading the FOMC minutes and we said, hey, they're not going to taper off Treasury bills, and Michael Saylor's buying bonds. More people are going to buy bonds. The Fed might buy bonds themselves. So this rotation into bonds is bullish for River. Also, here's the thing. River is at a low. I'm not sure where it's at statistically, but price-wise, that's a low, right? So you're not risking that, because that's a super valuable thing. So you could get, look at River, it's on the week, it's low. You could get a side bag in River, save some cash, take profit at the 20 level, and then just wait for the Bitcoin downside to finish playing out. We need to be selective and wait until we see the whites in their eyes. It's a very easy game. It's like being in a poker game filled with drunks. All we have to do is wait until we're in good position with good cards and we can win. What we don't want to do is start thinking we're Daniel Negreanu, we're Doyle Brunson, we're going to play every hand and do all these like really fancy bets. There's no need, okay? And it's important to regulate our emotions dopamine wise. Say, okay, we're going to play it slow. We'll get some River. We'll wait this out. There's not a lot of gains right now with Bitcoin in this position. That all that canceled here, we'll wait for the downside, then we'll value shop. Then we'll start to correlate back into our bio, into troll at a discount. I mean, looking at ZEC, and I'll show you the price target and why it's going to happen based on central bank data. The Bank of Japan no rate hike, that was our catalyst for the ZEC trade. You can see that in the description. Bank of Japan says no hike, that's bullish. Well, it just said in the FOMC minutes that they might start hiking. They probably will, in fact. Therefore, a lot of that upside will be reduced fundamentally. So we're going to get a pullback. This relief rally that might happen at the durable goods and jobs report, I would not trade that with heavy capital. You want to go for River? That's legit. Legit supported by macros. You're protected. You're at resistance. River you can go for. In Nevada, you can't buy it on Kraken. I don't know if you can in other places in the United States, but you buy it on a DEX, parcel out your lots, then put it in cold storage and wait. You're looking at, we're at 7 cents, right around 21. That's 3x. You're going to close it down right there. So you're going for a 3x on River. That's it. Now you have more cash and you're waiting for the next round, okay? That's what I would do, bro. If you want to push the risk, you've got 20 G's, you go 15 G's River, and then you go 5 G's into this privacy play, Octra. It's a new listing, it's a new technology, it's a cup and handle. Vic Vinegar. How would you rank the Fed data in terms of the 5 most important data points for altcoin investors? I would rank it in a tier of its own beyond double S. Without any doubt, it is the most important catalyst, big picture, and close. It gives you tons of insight when you combine it with technical analysis and on-chain data. I'm going to give you a quick 90-second rundown of Fed data on the total three. And once we get closer to now, I'm going to zoom it in to show you why Fed data trumps everything. Lockdowns happen here. The economy's in despair. The Fed begins printing money. They drop rates from 2% to 0. They start quantitative easing, which is this. This is the Fed's balance sheet. It's how many bonds the Fed owns. The entire market dynamics that Satoshi built Bitcoin around that we were just explaining, that 4-year Fed cycle that the halving is built around, the Fed's balance sheet is a key part of that in modern day economics. So as the Fed is building their balance sheet, this is super bullish. We can even go back to here when they're adjusting rates at the peak of 2018, but let's keep it up to date. So with this super bullish Fed position, everything in the world of risk on, Tesla stock, GameStop, every Palantir, everything in the world is going up. Palantir is a great example. We'll add that on to this. Everything's going up, including Bitcoin. It's all over right here. On November 18th, there's an FOMC meeting. Jerome Powell comes out. He says, instead of buying bonds, building our balance sheet, which is giving BlackRock and all his friends, all the institutional level guys, it's giving them cash. When they get cash, they roll it on to the Wall Street and Main Street. They invest in the economy. When it goes in the other direction, the Fed is taking their cash and they're giving them bonds with a 5% rate. That's why the rate adjustments are so important. If you hike the rates up to 10%, that's going to crush the market because now BlackRock's like, dude, you're going to give me 10% on my money, compounding annually, tax-free every year? Here's all my money. Give me all the bonds. So that's why they're adjusting rates and why that impacts altcoins so much. Right here, there's an FOMC meeting, November 18th, 2021. They decide, oh, instead of paying 0 on bonds, we're going to hike that up to 1.5%. Instead of building our balance sheet, like growing this blue line, handing money out, we're going in the other direction. So they start taking cash and giving bonds for that 1.5. And this signals the top is in, the top is in. Now later, the Biden administration starts coming in with this regulation. And then eventually that starts to stress out these sketchy markets like Terra Luna, Sam Bankman-Fried, and it just causes this huge collapse. Now everything's cool and they're fighting inflation. The whole reason they did that, well, why don't they just keep the party going? Because they're printing so much money that inflation is starting to impact this huge economic spider web. That's why in this design that Satoshi built Bitcoin around, those red lines have to come down. Okay, and that black line shows how it actually goes down. The 4-year line is just their plan. Now, okay, they're fighting inflation. Right? It's 2022. The market's pretty much dead. It's just going sideways. The Fed does their final rate hike right when we start our channel because everybody thought that would be bullish. We know, hey, they're hiking rates. They're going to pay more for bonds. Therefore, they're taking more cash off the street. So we open a YouTube and we're like, dude, check out the view. We're rich. We traded with Roaring Kitty. We showed all our GameStop trades, and we're going to show everyone his secrets, which is when they hike that rate, short everything. And we kind of started picking on one creator, and we shorted everything he was going long on. So we short everything, and we double our position. We're like, nice. Now we're at the bottom. Here's what happens in the world economy and banking. Circle Bank and all these regional banks in California that are connected to crypto by chance, they're having a liquidity crisis. It's a banking sector crisis, very similar to what was happening at the end of last year, right here. So what does the Fed do? They make this bunny hop. They do 60 days of quantitative easing. Long-term bonds. CASPA blitzes up in that April breakout, okay? It's not because the technology got discovered. It's not because, you know, they were doing like Rust upgrades, all this stuff. It's got nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the Fed. The Fed runs the market. The Fed runs the world. So we get the CASPA jump up. Now, hey, the Fed just did 60 days of quantitative easing. It's almost like a mini bull run. And at the same time, they said, dude, our policies are so restrictive, banks in California are going to go out of business. So they back off. They're backing off. That's why they did the final rate hikes. And they start making all of this more dovish announcements right here. They start pulling back on quantitative tightening significantly. So instead of lopping 90 billion out of the market every month, they're lopping 40 billion out. That is super bullish because now there's more cash in the hands of BlackRock. You remember that exchange they're doing? That Satoshi's design is all about? Now that's going into altcoins. So with all these pivots the Fed did here, now it's on. And we start to get this rally. Right around here, because of all this printing they did, inflation starts coming in super high. Looking at CASPA's chart, that's right here. Your PPI high, your PCE is high. So with these high inflation metrics, that's a top. And you're getting downside consolidation until this FOMC minutes. The entire altcoin market, inflation's too high. Originally, the Fed was going to cut rates. All right, let me zoom in here. What I did is I just added these FOMC meetings. The green ones are when they vote on the dot plot. So 4 times a year, those FOMC meetings are supercharged, bro. Those are the ones that make or break the market. Nothing, not every influencer at the same time tweeting and the masters of technology doing an on-chain upgrade can even hold a candle to a green emoji. Right here, they decide, okay, like down here when we were adding rate cuts, pivoting quantitative easing and stuff, they've taken that all away. Inflation's too high. Altcoins consolidate because of the Fed's position. Meanwhile, right here, Gary Gensler starts going after CZ. Binance gets attacked and just adds to the downside. The Bank of Japan hikes rates here. More downside. Because the Bank of Japan hiked rates, they're definitely connected with the global economy. The Fed's been chilling with their policy for so long, fighting inflation. They finally, right here at this green emoji, they add 3 rate cuts. Explosion, the 2024 bull run. Right here, they vote again. They say, Trump won, he's going to do tariffs, that's going to raise inflation, and these rate cuts that we just did, they raised inflation anyway. Inflation is very persistent. There was originally 5 rate cuts scheduled here. They took them all back. So that's super bearish. And this is the thing. They were projecting it would all take place at this January 28th because the Bank of Japan was going to hike rates. This is the wild thing. We were calling these out in real time, like reading these FOMC minutes and putting together trading plans like sell your bag. On this green emoji, we read through it for everybody in VIP, and what do we come up with December 20th? We come up with this: sell your bag. Sell all those altcoins that just rallied. For us, it was Moonwell, which did a 10x because of tariffs, because they just reduced the rate cuts. What's going to happen is we're getting a relief rally like we're getting right now, and this goes out to you, Strong Warrior. I don't want you buying heavy right now. Really, it's not a good idea. I don't know if I can stop you. If you have to, go for River and go for Octra. But the thing is, this is just a relief rally. We're about to get one of these. So I don't want you to get caught up in that somehow, right? So it's almost the exact same thing. And we're predicting here Caspa is going to crash. Later, we move forward to that January emoji, and we're like, dude, that's it. Bank of Japan just hiked rates, get out of everything. And what happens? The market explodes like we knew 45 days before it happened, in writing, moving our money out of the way. FOMC minutes here, right here. So this was a difficult read. They did a rate cut, but at the exact same time, they said, oh, by the way, we're going to remove all the other rate cuts that we were originally going to do right here. So there was supposed to be a bunch of rate cuts, and they changed their mind. Simultaneously, we've got a government shutdown. Here's an let's remove these emojis. I don't want this screen to be too messy, and put a new one up. Okay. So these are the FOMC minutes. We read these to get insight on the market from the last emojis. So here was that other emoji where they took the rate cuts away. This one is what supported this Caspa post, saying we're getting downside until May of 2026. Breaks my heart to make that call out. I can't really do videos about that because nobody wants to hear that. You know what I mean? This is kind of the post that you want to do behind closed doors. So here, the FOMC minutes are saying the government shutdown is a massive liquidity crisis. It's not looking good. Downside ensues. Here, at the meeting, what color was that meeting? Was it orange or green? It was green. So there's a big deal green meeting right here. What does Powell say? He says out loud, we're going to start buying bonds. So they're going to start doing that thing again. They're buying bonds, giving people cash. And they're going to restore the liquidity crisis from here in April. That's why we were ready for a huge breakout. The problem is PPI inflation. It's just, inflation is too high. We've got the conflict overseas, plus tariffs. Plus, we're still working on getting rid of the inflation from way back here, dude. So there's just like 3 layers. It's like a triple-decker sandwich of inflation, tariffs, Gulf conflict. Using the insight of when these inflation data prints are released, before these support and resistance lines even happen, like when the candle was down here in March, we were like, these are going to be the major support and resistance. This is our take profit level 1, take profit level 2. We'll reevaluate price action when it gets to take profit level 1. It breaks above, actually flips take profit level 2, but this is solid take profit level 2. And notice how it's been ping-ponging there. Those exact same dates, which are January 30th, that's when the PPI was released, and January 14th are on Render, they're on Bitcoin, there's January 30th. So right now we've got, on Bitcoin specifically, PPI inflation is holding it down. We're gonna have to get PPI inflation to come in low consecutively for Bitcoin to get above 84K, ever. So, in terms of signals, Fed data cannot be beat. It is the only signal, man. What you will see occasionally is the team will do an on-chain upgrade and they'll do it like right here, DEAI. This was like some AI coin we traded back at the September rate cuts. They start listing it on MEXC, doing all these on-chain upgrades right before. Kaspa. We actually shorted this one because of the Bank of Japan carry trade, but remember when they did the IGRA Labs, not the IGRA Labs, but the impressions, like the meme coins? There was like a huge Casplex upgrade, and they did it with the rate cut, same day. So that can throw investors who aren't hip to how important the Fed is off. You'll find 19 out of 20 times, whenever the team is gonna make a change, they're gonna align it with favorable macros. Rotating into River. Yes. Yeah, I do like River a lot more than Bio. The bottom is ultimately in for Bio as well. I mean, it looks like it's going to trade around this range, although there is a relief rally coming. River is a lot more bullish. What I like to avoid doing is playing hot potato with positions. The best scenario that we can get in is strictly every single time, do not vary for any exceptions. Just let the ones that you miss, because they'll be very few and far between. Only take a position when you're getting a macro data print that is highly bullish. That's gonna get us out of a ton of hot potatoes, top blasting, etc. Yeah, I would, personally, I would take River. I would swap into River. Absolutely. There's a lot more bullish catalysts supporting River specifically. They're not tapering. So with River, one of the catalysts you want to watch out for is token unlocks. Let's actually look into the token unlocks before we go jumping our gun with this call out. Let's go through and just vet some stuff. Just make sure we're not walking into an unlock. Okay, we got 25 days. Perfect. That's actually perfect. So the coast is clear from that regard. Yeah. I would do that. And we're going to strictly take profit at 18 to 22. Don't get greedy, just close it down. Okay? And then moving forward, The only entries that we want to use are macroeconomic data. Absolutely. Excuse me for a moment. I'll be back, and then we're going to do questions, and I've got one more pick that's good. Absolutely, River, definitely a go-to project. We've been scooping this up inside VIP, anything under $7. I'll show you guys why. So as you know, we read all these FOMC minutes. Now, one of the big negative catalysts for River was on April 8th. What happened on April 8th? Right here. The Fed releases a document. It says, we will taper off buying T-bills. That was what kickstarted this huge 30x run. So that in turn is really bullish for River. They just took that back in the recent FOMC minutes, excuse me. So River is supported in Fed documents, ready to run. Octra, this is a bit more high risk, beautiful chart pattern, and great wallet distribution. So when we go through the top 100 positions, it's fairly evenly keeled, specifically for a $70 million market cap. This, in my opinion, is the next KTA. This, because of all that extra liquidity that's around right now, is ready to run $10x plus. My opinion. I have a position here. I got in this one late, but once we established this cup and handle, I started scooping up, and then once it started wicking up, I just topped off my position right here, top blasting. This is a good project. Doing a deep dive into some of the research on the team here. So these guys are based out in this place called Crypto Valley. This is in Switzerland. A lot of connection to liquidity. After World War II, the central banking really got based out of Switzerland and Germany. There's a massive hotspot. It's like Silicon Valley Point 2 in Switzerland. Here's some of the upsides. Really bullish regulatory framework. They have tons of financial resources. There's like a whole team of devs in this community in Switzerland. They have authorities, they have taxation, they have banking. They've got it all. So this project, Octra, is right in the hub of technology in Europe. Number one biggest catalyst, this is only listed on Uniswap. part of my process while I'm gem hunting is I'll go to CryptoRank and I'll look for trending projects. Guess what the #1 trending gainer is today on CryptoRank? Octra. Octra is trending. So whenever we get a bullish macro print, like tomorrow morning possibly, part of my process is I'll go through and find out everything that's trending and everything that's gaining over the next 72 hours. Record that data, and then later we'll cross-reference it and vet out those projects, etc. Particularly with high impact events like Bio just had. Bio is still a gem. It just got stopped out by PPI. Bio is a great project for later when the Fed's ready to support. Yeah, I'm going through right now, compiling every single call out we made over the past 90 days. Now, these are typically correlated with the results of a macro print. So you're not supposed to blast on every single one, but let's just say that you randomly have. It's up 30%, and that's if you hadn't taken profit at all, and you just kept holding. So over 50 different picks, up 30%. I'm still compiling the data. Once we align all the trading plans with bullish, high conviction macro data, the upside and the hit to miss ratio is phenomenally accurate. And I'm compiling this to show people, hey, we've got a system that actually works. And of course, I got this from Roaring Kitty, the GameStop short squeeze guy. He was using this refined for the stock market. So, massive hidden gem, Octra. Obvious breakout play, safe double up, triple up, River. Now remember, River has a ton of chop. So right now is a great time to enter because we're still at the low range. We've got this like 6.25 support. We're fine. We can handle those type of swings. We're not going to break a sweat. It's all coming down to tomorrow. This is it. And there's two hurdles we have to get through. One is durable goods, which directly supports the AI sector. And then second, we've got to get through PCE. BankerBot, this is set up for another durable goods rally. How bizarre is that? So that was a durable goods print, shows growth in AI, huge rip. It looks like we're forming a fairly clear bull flag into this new durable goods. Yeah, we've got a flagpole and a triangle. So this is something that we're going to be watching inside group. I'll give you guys, a trading pick because you're interested in this macro stuff. This takes me so much time. It's hours and hours a day researching stuff, tracking the data so we can vet out the best projects. Awesome. So Kaspa, very exciting with the hard fork, but realistically, Kaspa's still got a long time of consolidation. And it has nothing to do with the project and has everything to do with the central bank. It's just going to take a while until they're ready to participate. For Zcash, in the event we get A relief rally tomorrow, what's that going to do? It's going to make a head and shoulder pattern here, and then we're going to get a pullback. The writing's on the wall for Bitcoin, guys. So remember this. Michael Saylor is buying bonds. So he's going in the opposite direction of Satoshi's secret. With all this excess liquidity, it was really setting up a meme coin rally. But with this much downside, with this resistance from the Morgan Stanley October 10th date, and with the stochastic 1 week oscillator at a peak, this is looking like a strong pullback. So after this relief rally, good time to take profit, wait it out, and try to pick this up at a discount. A parabolic breakout. We really lost that possibility once we lost 8 cents, even 10 cents. We really wanted to stay in that range. It survived PPI, which was surprising. Monad in your RWA sector and CFG. Wow, this is really discounted. Let's take a look at the 1 week statistics. Okay, it's already begun its downtrend. Now, the relief rally can stall this or delay it, but ultimately, it looks like we're going to get a retest of 20 cents. This has got more continued downside. And as we've studied the government's schedule, Paul Barron Network, relaying off of their research, went through all of Congress's schedule, and he showed, hey, they pretty much don't have time to release this until after the election. All these guys are going to be on the campaign trail and stuff pretty soon. This is not coming out. Here's my opinion, honest. Had PPI data been bullish, guess what? They would have magically been able to advance Clarity Act a few more stages. But why blow a catalyst? Why bother? They can get headlines across the world when it's ready, and it's not. And that really plays well into CASPA and the whole narrative of the hard fork. Yeah, definitely wait it out on Troll. And the key to avoiding top blasting, we've all fallen victim to FOMO. It's like one of the most powerful things is we want to follow this simple rule. And we're actually going through 90 days of trading to give everybody these stats. Like, for example, don't take a moon bag. People say once you double up, you should take your initial investment out. Don't. What we're seeing, even in this bear market, that's just going to cut down on your gains. Once something is doubled up, it's got an extremely high chance of going to a 3 to 5x. And that's where you want to start moonbagging, at a 3x. So I'm crunching all this data right now. It's going to be really helpful. And it's going to show when you wait until we get a flat out, not a bearish one like this, the party ruiner on May 13th, right? Bearish PPI. Wait until we get a bullish event. And then you can just blast with high conviction and you're good. Like the April 14th PPI. The Fed originally thought it was going to be high. Surprise, surprise, it came in low. Fire at will. Or like our bio entry. Or like this durable goods breakout on Clanker. So durable goods showed massive growth right here, and they're projecting it's going to do the same tomorrow. So Banker bot, there's a swing trade for tomorrow. This way you don't top blast. Here, we got Bank of Japan says no rate hike, and then we got Powell's FOMC meeting with a durable goods. That's right. This ran with like some other event. They like clustered like 3 different prints. So there was a durable goods, which was bullish, and Japan didn't hike rates. So bio went to the upside. Bio can ping up tomorrow. Can it retest all-time highs? Doubt it. Will it stop out at this PPI level? Yeah. So if you've got bio and you're like, you know what? Maybe I want to come back and visit this in Q1 of 2027. You know, waiting until this, give it a chance to relief rally, it's not a bad idea. You're going to make 50% going back there. And that's a very clear price target. So we'll get better entries using macro data, wait for this thing to cool off. Meanwhile, we've got 2 projects that we can hold during a bear market. One, this crazy new technology. The other one that you can research so you're familiar on the sector, Zama. Both of these projects are showing a cup and handle. They both use this new type of encryption that's like Loctite, like better than Zcash, better than Monero, all these other big privacy coins. These can be billion-dollar runners. Absolutely. This one isn't even on a single exchange, Octra. So there's some risk to it, but there can be some reward. CFG. Notice how Monad has had pretty strong pullback, but CFG is staying on top of this very important macro line. So this is 2 resistance lines in one. It's the May 15th trend line, and it's the Morgan Stanley October 10th trend line. So we have flipped that straight up into support, and it is holding. This is a very bullish project. Unfortunately, the 1-week stochastics will eventually need to come back down. We can get a relief rally a bit higher here. We might even get a breakout tomorrow and with the jobs report. Looking back here, let's see how this has been reacting to jobs data. Cleaning this chart up. There we go. The April 6th, or was that the May 5th? Right around this range. Yeah, it has been having some bullish correlation with jobs. We could see a big wick up tomorrow. And then consolidation. So this trend line was tested since February. We just flipped it. We can continue testing it as support until August. This is some consolidation to do while Bitcoin pulls back. You might see some gains if you add on right now, but this kind of lane is definitely positioned to hold. I wouldn't be surprised if this had kind of like a blow off top setup. Tomorrow with a bullish durable goods. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this popped up to like 50 and then comes back down and tests this later. Nice rounded bottom. This undoubtedly outperformed XPL. And this was really easy to vet just by checking the wallets. XPL didn't have good distribution. It wasn't really connecting with the macro dates, right? But when we look at CFG, the first wick up hit the May 15th trend line, and then when the next one did, it was like, okay, we need to get a position here in CFG. So this is solid. The gains should be locked in here. And we're going to just get some sideways consolidation until the economy's ready. If you're having trouble on Uniswap, maybe use a different browser. ChatGPT can walk you through pretty much any technical thing and give you every different option. Yeah, so bear market holding River for the 3x, Octra for the 10x. CFG holds the line. Bio, a relief rally. Troll, I think, is going to do a relief rally back up here, and then everybody that got really scared here is going to DCA out, and it's going to come back down. This is too much. It's becoming a head and shoulder pattern. That's going to head and shoulder, and then it's going to come way down low. Now, we have used our macro tactics to correlate the best meme coins that are moving on these macro events. Like, there's the April 8th FOMC minutes. 48 hours later, Troll starts moving. Not bad. Here's the Bank of Japan doesn't hike rates. The durable goods, which actually was Troll's original breakout from the first spike, that's a durable goods right there, guys. So it breaks out again. Now we're ready for a durable goods print to get our right shoulder. And psychologically, the head and shoulders is showing the bulls are kind of like, meh. Looks like we're going to wait it out. So didn't hold. Near. So when we start diving into the on-chain activity, very minimal. Not making a lot of profit, kind of a lot of fluff, and really most cryptos are. That's the sad part. They're only really active during a bull market. It's kind of crypto's self-licking ice cream cone, kind of the Ponzi-nomics behind it, something that Morgan Stanley is looking to pivot away from, something that VVV establishes. But this project, with the cup and handle, even this cup and handle is yielding at least $4.50 to $6 on average. So crossing that Morgan Stanley line with a bullish durable goods and then a labor market print, there's some upside here, better for short traders. If you're this action that you want to buy something that's running, why don't we wait until it peaks and then just short it? We already covered Zcash coming back down to 400 and why, because the Bank of Japan's going to hike. And that's pretty much it. All right, guys, so it's all coming down to tomorrow. in the event it's neutral, it'll be more selective. It'll be not a clear macro signal. All right, guys, thanks for checking out this video. We will catch you on the next one.